When did you realize your friends were actually fake friends? Right after I came out of the closet. Good riddance though. Now I am surrounded by people that matter. They were all super supportive and encouraging at first, until I started openly seeing guys. Then my closest friend started excluding me from things. When I confronted him about it, his answer was, "I know you're gay, and that's great. But I don't want to see or hear about all this gay stuff." So I was allowed to be gay, I just wasn't allowed to talk about dating anyone or flirt with anyone. And just like that, all of the other friends in that group fell in line with him. Deleted. Friends who don't even know or bother greeting me on my birthday. When my best friend became close with the guy who abused me for 2 years. She knew everything, and still formed that friendship anyway, and when confronted about it, she said he was a nice guy who was misunderstood, that my abuse never happened, and that my other friend who had integrity and reached out to me with screenshots when he attempted to contact her, was making him look bad. She threw away a 4-year friendship in that moment. She was also sending him screenshots of our private conversations and updating him about me when he has a new girlfriend. Edit, they weren't having an affair. They only became really close a year after the breakup, which was around the same time he started to reach out to a bunch of my other friends to manipulate them. Deleted. When I got divorced. Apparently all of my friends were really my ex-husband friends. I haven't spoken to any of them in 6+ years. When one of them tried to kiss me and I dodged, so later he held my head in place and planted one right on my lips, then got me kicked out of the group by telling everyone I tried to force myself on him. I stopped smoking weed and they stopped coming round. Edit, that's a lot to upvotes. I'm sorry so many of you seem to have had similar experiences. You'll make new friends if you haven't already. To the people saying there's nothing wrong with this, then I'd like to respectfully disagree. These were people I considered close friends, it wasn't just some guys and gals I shared a hobby with. Please don't be so quick to judge when you have very little context. Friends? What are those? Fake might not be the right word. It was when I found out they had doxed me. Well, and learning that they had been joking about murdering someone I was close to because they worked in a job related to law enforcement. This kid must have had serious mental issue. When I was in school, all my friends and I did different A-levels. Despite us all having different lessons to each other, they would wait for each other to go to lunch together, but they would always forget me. Like I'd come out and they wouldn't be there, so I'd have lunch by myself. And then they'd come back and tell me they thought I was with them. I was the only one they didn't wait for. I've only seen one of them since we left school. She had forgotten my name. So that sucked. When they abandoned me when I was going through a rough time. When I spent years listening and supporting them. When I have my first true moment where I am not coping and need support, they are nowhere to be seen and bitching behind my back. This is when I realized my high school friends never had grown up past high school. Luckily I had other friends. Just not a large girl group like that. But I can actually say that every friend I know they have my back and won't judge me if I am not always happy. And the same for me. I have always had very high expectations of myself as a friend, and I feel that everyone I call a friend is someone that brings something special to my life. That is worth more than having a huge group of bitchy girlfriends who turn on each other when they are out of the room. It took me a long time to realize it though. I kind of always knew. I was two things, a poor kid in a private school and a really aggressive girl. I was only friends with other girls, and they were friends with me because they didn't want me to beat them up. I wouldn't even if they weren't, but they couldn't know that. And to be a part of conversation I had to actively pretend to own stuff I didn't, like cable TV and such. I have plenty of stories of fake friends. But it was partly my fault too. Currently I have a small friend group and I strongly believe they're not fake. When my then best friend went on a couple of dates with my emotionally abusive groomer, she said she wasn't hurt by him, so she didn't think she should cast him off. That scum of a guy gave me lifetime of PTSD, deepened my depression, and made me distrust men more than before. It was years ago now, but I'm still not completely over it. When I trusted them with a secret that was mega personal and they told others even though I begged them, trusted them to not tell, they did, and ruined my career and life basically after 18 years of being besties. My friends I made at university was the first people I met there and got along with. There was 3 to 4 guys, in addition to myself, who were inseparable for months. Well, one semester my course registration got messed up, so I wasn't able to enroll in classes with them. Eventually I managed to protest with my school enough to let me into a full class they were in, so I could at least see them once a week and hang out with them after class. Biggest mistake. It was like I didn't even exist anymore to these guys. They would say hi to me and ask what I was up to, but I was never invited to anything anymore and was removed from the group chat we had. It hurt like hell at the time, but I think the most important thing I learned from all this was how to distinguish between actual friends and acquaintances. I didn't expect much from acquaintances and learned to rely more on my actual friends. Towards the end of college I had 2 roommates for about 2 years. We had enough in common to live together, and even though we didn't do everything together, we spent enough time doing stuff on our own or with our extended group of friends that I had thought we were all fairly good friends. But when I had a chance to move into my own place, I was instantly ghosted once I drove my moving van out of the driveway, never got a phone call, never got a response to any messages I left for either of them, not even a text in reply. About 3 years later I ran into them in Las Vegas and they both looked me in the eye and walked past me like I had never met them. F those guys. Fake friends is a phenomenon that evaporates in the adult world and is replaced by toxic relationships. Being jammed together with people in the same school or church or dorm means that you're connected together. You can be taken advantage of, ignored at a whim, or abused, and have to constantly interact with the people who would do it simply by being in the same space day after day. In the adult world, it's easier to cut people out of your life or lay the ground rules for your relationships. Toxic relationships form out of codependency or some other factor that makes you feel trapped. But people that you make friends with that drift apart with time is just the natural ebb and flow of life. When she told me she was just being kind to me so I wouldn't kill myself. I deal with depression and she knew this. But she kinda blew it out of proportion and used me to make her feel better about herself. Like she was doing a public service or some shit. When I left their church. When they call only when they need something from you. Not when they just want to hang out or go out. Had a friend I would invite out when I hang out with my other friends. He only called when he needed something. He's moving, his car broke down, but never when he hangs out with his friends or just to hang out with him. He just asked me to help him move again. I told him, go ask his friends that he just had a moving away party with. The day I told all my friends and even family I was going to be a father, a lot fell off the tree. The day I had my daughter was the day everyone stopped responding and started ignoring all my texts and calls, got kicked out some group chats, people started unadding me off social media and some off Facebook. Now I have a handful of childhood friends and some family members that still see me and my daughter as family. It is what it is, I ain't trippin'. When I had a mental breakdown and found out I was bipolar, as I healed and started growing and learning, some of my closest friends didn't stick around. It's like they would rather have watched me crash and burn than grow and heal. Off. This one hurt. When I was married we had a friend group of 3 couples from our street. We went to football games, trips to the beach and spent holidays at each other's homes. After the divorce I went traveling for a year, then moved to a condo downtown in our city. I'd had lunch with the wives after returning from traveling. I thought we were still friends. I was sitting on my second floor balcony of my new condo one night about 8 p.m. and saw them walking down the street. I said, "Hi. So good to see you." They'd all been out to dinner and were headed to another couple's apartment who had moved downtown while their house was being renovated for a quick drink. I was excited to see them and asked them to stop by on their way back to where they'd parked. I tidied up my place and anxiously awaited seeing my old pals. I was texting with one of the ladies during the wait. About 9 p.m. I saw them walking and chatting back towards my place. They couldn't see me. When they got close to my balcony they stopped talking and walked quickly and quietly by. Then started laughing and talking after they passed. The one I had been texted with while I waited sent me a text an hour later saying they were just now leaving the other friend's place and it was too late to stop by. I replied that I'd seen them when they left. I never spoke to any of them again even though they tried to be friends on Facebook. I wasn't hurt that they couldn't stop by on short notice. It was that they made me a joke and it really hurt. TL, Doctor, don't expect to stay friends with couples you were friends with when you were part of a couple.
With